Every day you wake up and face choices. Some are small, some are big, but all of them matter. What time you get out of bed, what you tell yourself in the mirror, who you give your time to, whether you stay the same or take a step forward. Most people don't realize how much control they actually have. They wait, they overthink, they blame. But the truth is simple. Your life is shaped by the choices you make every single day. This isn't about motivation or hype. This is real. If you keep choosing comfort, you stay stuck. If you keep saying yes to things that drain you, you stay tired. But if you start making decisions that match who you want to become, your life will change. Slowly, then suddenly. Life is all about choices isn't just a title, it's the truth. And if you're ready to take back your power, this is where it starts. Chapter 1. Choose how you show up every single day. You wake up every day with a choice, and that choice is not about what happens around you, it's about how you show up. That decision belongs to no one else but you. Most people don't even realize it. They move through their day without ever deciding who they want to be in it. And then they wonder why life feels out of control. But the truth is, your day doesn't control you. Your circumstances don't define you. What defines you is how you show up in them. Now think about this. You can't always control what happens in your life. Some days you'll face problems. Some days you'll feel tired. People will test you. Things won't go according to plan. But none of that is what really matters. What matters is how you respond to it. That's where your power is. And every morning, before the world starts pulling on you, you get to make a decision about how you're going to show up. You can show up lazy or you can show up ready. You can show up with frustration or with patience. You can show up complaining or with a mindset to handle whatever comes. Those little choices add up. And over time, they shape your character. They shape your habits. They shape your results. You don't become successful all at once. You become successful one decision at a time. And it begins with how you show up every single day. If you want to improve your life, stop trying to fix everything outside of you. Start with yourself. Start with the decision you make in the mirror every morning. Decide how you'll carry yourself. Decide what kind of effort you'll give. Decide how you'll treat people. Decide how you'll respond when things go wrong. That's where personal development begins, not in theory, not in books, but in your daily choices. It's easy to look around and say, well, I'm not motivated today, or I'm not in the mood, or this situation is unfair. And maybe it is, maybe it's not your fault, but it's still your life. And every day that you let your emotions decide how you show up, you lose control over your progress. Growth doesn't wait for you to feel like it. Discipline doesn't depend on your mood. Progress happens when you decide to keep showing up with the right attitude, even when you don't feel like it. Do you know why some people grow and others stay stuck for years? It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's how they show up when no one's watching. It's how they show up when things get boring. It's how they show up when they're tired, when it's hard, and when they'd rather take the day off. The successful ones decide that how they show up matters more than how they feel in the moment. I've seen people turn their lives around in 6 months, not because their situation changed, but because their mindset changed. They got serious about how they approached each day. They stopped showing up like life owed them something, and they started showing up like they owed life their best effort. That shift in attitude, just that one change, can move mountains. And you don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start making better decisions, one day at a time. You have to decide what version of you is going to show up today. Will it be the version that avoids the hard things? or the version that takes them head on? Will it be the version that reacts out of habit, or the version that thinks before it speaks? Because every time you choose the better version of yourself, even in small ways, you get stronger, and that strength adds up. How you show up also affects the people around you. If you show up angry, your family feels it. If you show up tired and disinterested, your work suffers. If you show up distracted, your opportunities slip right past you. But when you walk in with clarity, with focus, with purpose, that energy changes everything. You set the tone. People respond to you differently. Doors open. And it all starts with a choice that happens before the day even begins. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Nobody gets it right every day. You'll have off days. You'll make mistakes. But the goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. If you fall off one day, get up the next. If your attitude slipped yesterday, make a better decision today. If you slacked off last week, commit to showing up stronger this week. That's how you grow. That's how you build a life you're proud of. Not by waiting for the perfect moment, but by doing the right thing when it's not easy. It's also important to prepare yourself. Don't leave your attitude to chance. Set the tone before the world does. Maybe it's writing down your goals. Maybe it's spending a few quiet minutes thinking about what kind of person you want to be today. Maybe it's reminding yourself of the reasons you started. Whatever it is, you have to make that space to choose your mindset. Because if you don't choose it, the day will choose it for you, and it rarely chooses well. Some people spend their whole lives reacting. They react to the news, they react to people, they react to circumstances, and they never feel in control. But when you choose how you show up, you start creating your life on purpose. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop running and start building. And you start feeling more alive because you're finally steering the ship. People will ask, how do I stay motivated? The answer is simple. Decide how you want to show up and stick to it. Motivation isn't something you find, it's something you build. It's what grows when you choose to show up with purpose over and over again. You don't wait for it, you earn it by being the kind of person who takes responsibility for how they move through the world. And if you're struggling right now, if things aren't working out, if you feel stuck, go back to this question. How are you showing up? Not once in a while, every day. How are you walking into your life? Are you bringing energy? Are you being present? Are you acting like the person you want to become? Because if not, then that's where the change starts. Not with other people, not with circumstances, with you. You've got this day in front of you, not tomorrow, not next week, today. This is your moment to take back control, to stop waiting for things to feel right and start doing what's right. You get one chance at this life. Don't waste it showing up halfway. Don't waste it acting like you don't have power. You do. And the proof is simple. It's in the choices you make, especially the one you make first thing every day. So when you open your eyes in the morning, don't just drift. Decide. Decide who you want to be. Decide how you're going to treat people. Decide how much effort you're going to give. Decide how you're going to face whatever comes. Because that decision, that quiet, personal, internal choice, is what separates those who create a life they're proud of from those who just get through the day. It all starts with how you show up every single day. That's the real difference. That's the power you already have. Use it. Chapter 2. Decide what kind of life you really want. Most people go through life without ever stopping to ask themselves what kind of life they truly want. They wake up, they go to work, they go through the motions and they settle. Not because they're not capable of more, but because they never take the time to decide what they actually want. And when you don't decide, life makes the decision for you. You end up following the crowd, you end up reacting to whatever comes your way, and eventually you feel lost, stuck, and unsure how you even got there. You can't live a life you never planned for. You can't create something meaningful if you haven't defined it. You can't wake up with clarity if your direction keeps changing based on what others say, what others do, or what others expect. That's why this step is so important. You have to decide what kind of life you really want. Not the life your parents imagined for you, not the life your friends think is right, not the life that looks good on paper, the life that feels right deep inside. The one that reflects your values, your priorities, your vision. That decision is yours to make, and no one can make it for you. You don't need to have every detail figured out right now, but you do need to be honest. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to have? What kind of energy do you want to carry each day? These questions aren't just philosophical, they're practical, because once you decide, everything begins to shift. Your choices become clearer, your actions start to align, and suddenly you stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop wasting time, you stop saying yes to things that go against your values. You get one life, one shot, and it's not a rehearsal. You can't keep postponing the decision. You can't keep saying, one day I'll figure it out. The truth is, that day never comes unless you make it come. You have to pause. You have to reflect, and you have to decide. Not wish, not hope, decide. There's power in being clear. When you know what you want, it's easier to say no. It's easier to get up early. It's easier to keep going when things get tough, because you're not just drifting anymore. You're living with purpose. Most people confuse movement with progress. They stay busy, but they're going nowhere. They chase job titles, they buy things they don't need, they work to impress people they don't even like. And 10 years go by. Then 20, and they look around and realize they built a life that doesn't match who they are. All because they never stopped to ask what kind of life they really wanted. Don't let that happen to you. Decide early, decide clearly, and then build your actions around that decision. And if you're not sure what you want right now, that's okay. Start by getting quiet. Get away from the noise for a moment. Turn off the distractions. Spend time thinking about what matters to you. Think about the times you felt most alive. Think about the kind of days that made you feel proud. Think about the kind of days that made you feel connected, real, fulfilled. That's where your answer lives. It's not in what everyone else is doing. It's not in the trends. It's in those small moments when you felt like yourself, the real you, the one that doesn't need to impress anyone, the one that feels calm, strong, and in control. Once you find it, protect it. Don't trade it for temporary approval. Don't let fear of judgment pull you away. People will always have opinions. They'll question your path. They'll compare you to others. But remember, they don't have to live your life. You do. And the cost of living someone else's version of life is too high. It'll drain you. It'll break you. It'll leave you feeling empty. Even if everything looks good from the outside. Real peace comes when your life matches your values. When your time goes into things that matter to you. When your energy is spent on goals that mean something to you. That's when you feel grounded. That's when you stop second-guessing. That's when you start building momentum that lasts. You have to be specific. Saying, I want a better life is not enough. Better in what way? What does that look like? What does that feel like? If you want freedom, what does freedom mean to you? If you want success, define it on your terms, not based on money or likes or status, based on meaning, based on growth, based on alignment. Because when you define your life by your own standard, nobody can take that away from you. And once you decide, act like it. Let your choices reflect your decision. Let your time show what matters to you. Let your energy go into things that move you forward, because it's not enough to want something. You have to prove it with what you do each day. There are people who say they want change, but their actions say otherwise. They keep putting it off. They keep following old habits. They keep settling. Don't be one of them. This doesn't mean your path will be perfect. It won't be. You'll make mistakes. You'll face resistance. You'll question yourself at times. But when the vision is clear, you keep going. When the reason is real, you stay strong. When the direction is yours, the journey becomes yours too. And don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to approve your dream. Most people won't understand it. They won't see what you see. And that's okay. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. For the future you want to live. For the person you're becoming. Because once you've tasted what a clear life feels like, you'll never want to go back to confusion. Clarity is not just about where you're going. It's also about what you're willing to leave behind. Some habits will have to go. Some relationships might fade. Some comforts will need to be replaced with discipline. That's part of the price. But the trade is worth it because you're not just letting go of comfort. You're making space for growth. You don't need to have everything figured out to start. You just need to stop pretending that drifting will lead somewhere good. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need a real decision. A decision that says, this is the kind of life I want, and I'm going to live like I mean it. A decision that's backed by consistency, not talk. A decision that you revisit every day and realign your actions with. And remember this. Life moves fast. The days pass. The months go by. The years stack up. And if you're not paying attention, you'll look back and realize you gave the best parts of yourself to things that didn't matter. That's the real danger of indecision. It doesn't just waste time. It wastes you. Your energy, your focus, your strength, your potential. But the moment you decide, everything starts to change. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you become clearer. You start to move differently. You carry yourself with purpose. You begin to attract better opportunities. And the people around you start to respect the direction you've chosen, even if they don't understand it. This is your life. You don't get a second version of it. You don't get to rewind. You don't get to trade it in. And the longer you delay your decision, the further you drift from the life that's waiting for you. Decide today. Decide clearly. Decide boldly. Not someday, now. Because the rest of your life is shaped by the choice you make right now. So sit with it. Ask yourself with honesty and courage, what kind of life do I really want? And once the answer shows up, no matter how big, no matter how scary, no matter how different, it's your job to say yes. Say yes to that life. Say yes to those standards. Say yes to the path that brings you peace when you're alone and strength when things get hard. And when you make that choice, when you really choose, you'll stop chasing and start creating. You'll stop doubting and start building. You'll stop reacting and start becoming. Not the person others expect, but the one you were meant to be. And that's the power of deciding the life you really want. It's not just a decision. It's the beginning of everything. Chapter 3. Pick growth when staying the same feels easier. There will always be a moment when doing nothing feels easier, when sitting still looks safer than stepping forward, when staying the same seems more comfortable than going through the discomfort of change. That moment is not rare. It shows up daily. It shows up when you're tired, when you're uncertain, when you feel overwhelmed. And in that exact moment, you're being asked to make a choice. Will you protect what's familiar, or will you reach for something better? That's the test that defines growth. Not when everything feels right, but when you have every reason to stay the same and still choose to improve. Growth doesn't feel good at first. It feels uncomfortable. It stretches you. It exposes your weak points. It demands more of you. And that's why most people avoid it. They'd rather repeat their routine than challenge it. They'd rather stay in the job they don't enjoy than face the process of building something new. They'd rather hold on to old habits than create better ones that take time and effort. But avoiding growth doesn't protect you, it traps you. It keeps you stuck in cycles that slowly wear you down. It makes your world smaller while your potential stays unused. People often say they want change. They want more freedom, better health, stronger relationships, more confidence, better results. But when the moment comes to make a hard decision, to step into something unfamiliar, they back away. Not because they don't care, but because they don't yet see growth as a choice. They see it as something that should happen to them, not something they have to work through. But growth doesn't arrive on its own. It waits for your decision, and it shows up only when you stop choosing comfort over courage. You don't have to make massive changes all at once. Growth is not about turning your life upside down overnight. It's about choosing progress even when no one's watching. It's about choosing the uncomfortable truth over the easy excuse. It's about choosing a better response when your mind wants to react the same old way. These small choices build momentum, and over time they lead you to a different life. A stronger, clearer, more grounded life. Ask yourself what patterns you're repeating. Ask yourself what you're avoiding because it's hard. Ask yourself if you've been staying the same because it's familiar or because it's truly working for you. A lot of people mistake routine for progress. Just because you've been doing something for years doesn't mean it's helping you grow. Just because something feels natural doesn't mean it's good for your future. You have to evaluate. You have to question. You have to challenge your own comfort. It takes real strength to break your own patterns, to admit that the way you've always done something isn't working anymore, to let go of the need to look like you've got it all figured out. But growth always starts with honesty. It starts with the ability to face yourself without pretending, and then it asks for action. Not motivation, not inspiration, action. The quiet decision to take one step forward, even when it's easier to stay still. You're not meant to stay the same. Staying the same might feel safe, but it slowly kills your ambition. It makes you forget what you're capable of. It makes you settle for less than you deserve, and soon the days blur together. You wake up feeling dull instead of alive. You go to bed wondering if you're really doing what matters. That's the cost of choosing what's easy over what's right, and no reward ever comes from that kind of trade. But when you pick growth, even when you don't feel ready, you take back control. You reclaim your time. You stop blaming other people. You stop waiting for the right time. You realize that the only way to build a better life is to become a better version of yourself, one decision at a time. You stop waiting for permission, you stop overthinking, and you start becoming. It's not about becoming someone else. Growth doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It means becoming more of who you're meant to be. It means cutting out the parts that no longer serve you. It means updating the way you think, the way you work, the way you speak, and the way you carry yourself. It's a daily commitment to improvement. Not because you're broken, but because you know you can be more. And yes, growth will ask more from you. It will test your patience. It will challenge your focus. It will make you tired. But it will also make you proud. It will build your character. it will increase your confidence, and it will give you something that comfort never could. Real strength. The kind of strength that doesn't come from pretending, but from doing the work when it's hard. Some people spend years stuck in the same place, not because they're not capable, not because they don't have the resources, but because they kept choosing the easy way out. They waited for growth to feel good before they moved, and that moment never came, so they stayed still while their potential faded. You can't let that happen to you. You're here to evolve. You're here to improve, and that means making uncomfortable decisions. That means picking growth even when you feel tired, unsure, afraid, or overwhelmed. You don't grow by staying hidden. You don't grow by saying yes to everything that's convenient. You grow when you stop letting fear make your decisions, when you stop letting your past decide your future, when you stop repeating the same reactions and choose better ones. It doesn't take luck. It doesn't take perfection. It takes the willingness to improve, even when it's not easy. And no, the process won't be perfect. You'll have days when you slip. You'll make decisions you wish you hadn't. You'll fall into old habits. But the key is to keep showing up. The key is to notice those moments and shift again. The key is to remind yourself why you chose growth in the first place. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. You were not built to coast through life. You were built to rise, to stretch, to overcome, to adapt. But you have to make the choice. No one can force growth into your life. It only shows up when you invite it in and prove you're serious. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Willing to show up, willing to get uncomfortable, willing to stay consistent. There will always be a reason to delay. There will always be something that makes it easier to stay the same. But comfort won't bring you what you're looking for. It won't give you peace. It won't give you strength. It won't give you pride. Only growth can give you those things. Only growth can lead you to the life that reflects your best self. This is about who you become. It's about how you live. It's about looking back one day and knowing you didn't settle, knowing you chose to become more even when you didn't have to, knowing you said yes to progress when everything around you said stay safe. That's the life that matters. That's the kind of person you want to be. So when the day feels heavy and staying the same feels easier, pause. Breathe, then move. Move toward growth, no matter how small the step. Move with intention, move with clarity, because every time you pick growth, you're shaping your future, and that future is built by choices, not by chance. You decide who you become. You decide how far you go, and it all begins with one simple but powerful decision: to grow, even when it's easier not to. Chapter 4. Say what you need instead of staying silent. Too many people walk through life holding back what they really think, what they truly feel, and what they honestly need, not because they have nothing to say, but because somewhere along the way they learned to stay quiet. They convinced themselves that their voice wasn't important, that their needs weren't valid, or that speaking up would cause more problems than it would solve. But silence doesn't solve anything. Silence builds pressure. It creates distance, and eventually it leads to frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Saying nothing may feel safe in the moment, but it costs you something long-term. It costs you your peace. It costs you your identity. It costs you your connection with others. You're not helping yourself or anyone else by staying quiet about the things that matter to you. If something is hurting you, if something doesn't feel right, if something needs to change, you have a responsibility to say it. Not out of anger, not to attack or blame, but to be honest. Honest with yourself and honest with the people around you. Communication is not a luxury, It's a basic part of living a healthy life. When you avoid it, you shrink. You begin to move through life feeling smaller than you are. You tolerate things that don't align with your values. You pretend you're okay when you're not. And the longer you do that, the more disconnected you become from your own self and from others. Speaking up is not about being loud. It's not about always having the final word. It's about being real. It's about learning to say what you actually mean. It's about saying no when something crosses your boundary. It's about asking for help when you need support. It's about expressing how you feel so that the people in your life understand you. You can't expect people to guess what you need. You can't assume they'll know what's going on inside of you. If you want to be seen, you have to show up with your truth. Some people stay silent because they're afraid of rejection. They fear conflict. They don't want to upset anyone. But the truth is, staying silent doesn't prevent pain. It only delays it. Because eventually what's bottled up comes out. Sometimes it comes out in frustration. Sometimes it comes out in sudden withdrawal. Sometimes it comes out in ways you can't control. So you might as well speak it directly. Say it clearly. Let your needs be known while the moment is still honest. Saying what you need takes courage. It means admitting that something is missing. It means being vulnerable. And that's not always easy. But it's better than hiding. It's better than pretending. It's better than living a life that doesn't fit you. If you're always adapting to please others, if you're constantly sacrificing your voice to avoid discomfort, then you're not being authentic. You're performing. And performances are exhausting. You shouldn't have to perform to feel accepted. You shouldn't have to stay silent to keep the peace. Real peace includes your voice. If you've been quiet for too long, you'll need to practice. You won't become a great communicator overnight. But you can start small. Speak up about small things. Share your opinion in a conversation. Ask for what you need at work. Set a boundary in a relationship. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but the discomfort is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something new. You're learning to trust your voice. You're learning to respect your own truth. And with each step you get stronger. You don't have to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to be aggressive to be clear. Clarity is power. Say what you mean what you say, and be willing to stand by it. If something matters to you, then you have every right to speak it. Don't wait until you're pushed to your limit. Don't wait until you break down to finally express yourself. Start now, speak now. Get in the habit of honoring your own needs with words. This isn't just about self-expression, it's about building real connections. You can't have deep relationships without communication. If people never know how you feel, if they're always guessing what you need, then the relationship lacks depth. Real connection comes from honesty, from being open, even when it's uncomfortable, from saying, "This matters to me," and allowing the other person to respond. That's where understanding begins. That's where respect grows. That's where people can truly show up for each other. You have to stop apologizing for having needs. You're human. You need rest. You need encouragement. You need honesty. You need to be heard. There's nothing wrong with that. And when you stop minimizing yourself, when you stop shrinking to make others comfortable, you give yourself permission to live fully. You stop holding back your ideas. You stop hiding your pain. You stop pretending that silence is strength. Real strength is using your voice, even when it shakes. People won't always respond how you want them to. Some won't understand. Some may push back. That's okay. Speaking up isn't about controlling how others react. It's about staying honest with yourself. It's about choosing not to abandon your own voice. You're not responsible for how people feel about your truth, but you are responsible for sharing it clearly and respectfully. Silence can become a habit, but it's a habit you can unlearn. You can teach yourself to speak. You can choose to honor your needs. You can train your mind to value truth over comfort. You don't have to be the quiet one anymore. You don't have to carry unspoken frustration. You don't have to smile through pain. You can speak. You can ask. You can express. And by doing that, you begin to change your life from the inside out. There will be people who listen. There will be people who care. But they can't help you if they don't know what's going on. They can't support you if you don't ask. You might be surprised how many people want to understand you, but they need clarity. They need your words. They need you to stop holding it all in. Even in your career, your voice matters. If you want opportunities, you have to speak. If you want clarity, you have to ask. If something doesn't make sense, you need to say it. Silence in your professional life can cost you growth. It can keep you stuck. You have ideas, you have insights, you have value, but none of it matters if no one hears it. Speak up. Ask for the meeting. Share the idea. Push for what you know you deserve. And in your personal life, don't let fear of conflict steal your peace. Some conversations will be hard, but they need to happen. You can't avoid every difficult topic. Avoidance is not love. Avoidance is not peace. Avoidance is fear, and fear keeps relationships weak. Say the truth. Say what you're thinking. Say what's not working. Say what you need. Not to create drama, but to create understanding. You deserve to be heard. Your voice matters, not just to others, but to yourself. When you stop speaking, you stop recognizing your own worth, you stop trusting your own perspective, and slowly your self-esteem begins to fade. Speaking is not just an act of communication, it's an act of self-respect. It's how you remind yourself that your needs are real, your feelings are valid, and your voice is valuable. You have the right to speak clearly. You have the right to ask for better. You have the right to express yourself fully. Don't keep waiting for the perfect moment. Don't keep hoping someone else will notice. Say it now. Say it while it's honest. Say it so that you can live freely and fully. Every day you stay silent about the things that matter, you give away a little bit of your power. It's time to take it back. It's time to speak up. Not tomorrow, not when it's safe. Now. Say what you need. Say it with strength. Say it with clarity. Say it because you matter.
Chapter 5. Stop giving time to people who drain you. Your time is your life. Every minute you give away is a piece of your energy, your attention, your focus. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. That's why you have to be careful about who you give it to. Some people lift you. Some people make you better. Some people challenge you in a way that helps you grow, but others don't. Some people take and take, but they never give. They leave you tired. They leave you distracted. They leave you doubting yourself. And if you don't protect your time, they'll keep pulling from you until there's nothing left. You don't have to hate anyone to walk away from them. You don't need to explain yourself to people who only listen when it benefits them. You don't need to keep showing up for someone who only calls when they want something. That's not loyalty. That's self-neglect. You're not being kind by letting people drain you. You're not being supportive by letting them use you as an emotional dumping ground. If someone constantly leaves you feeling heavy, tired, frustrated, or small, it's not your job to fix them. It's your job to protect your peace. You can care about someone and still choose not to let them dominate your energy. You can respect someone and still create space. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to you. Not everyone has earned a seat at your table. Just because someone has been around a long time doesn't mean they deserve your time now. Just because someone calls you family or friend doesn't mean they get to keep draining you. Title doesn't equal effort. History doesn't guarantee alignment. Some people were right for a season, but that season ended, and the more you hold on, the more it costs you. When you give your time to the wrong people, you lose time for the right ones. When you give your attention to people who don't value it, you take it away from your purpose, your goals, your real relationships. And that delay adds up. You lose momentum. You lose clarity. You lose pieces of yourself trying to keep someone else whole. You think you're helping, but what you're really doing is hurting yourself. And the worst part is, most of the people who drain you won't stop until you say no. They won't stop until you make a new decision. You don't need drama. You don't need a scene. You don't need revenge. You just need boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They don't shut everyone out. They help you decide who gets close, who gets your best, who gets your time, who gets to speak into your life. And once you set those boundaries, you need to honor them. If someone consistently crosses your limits, shows no respect for your effort, or leaves you worse every time they come around, that's a clear sign. And ignoring those signs doesn't make you stronger. It makes you stuck. There are people who will love your potential, but not support your progress. There are people who only reach out when they need something, but disappear when you need them. There are people who pretend to care, but they compete with you quietly, and it's not your job to keep them close. Your job is to create an environment where you can grow, where you can think clearly, where you can show up fully. And that can't happen if your energy is constantly being drained by people who don't feed your spirit. It's not selfish to protect your time. It's not rude to say no. It's responsible. Your time is limited. You don't get to replay today. And if you keep spending it on people who leave you feeling empty, you'll never get where you're trying to go. You'll stay stuck in conversations that go nowhere. You'll stay trapped in relationships that drain your joy. You'll keep solving problems that aren't even yours. And eventually you'll burn out. Not because you're weak, but because you're giving too much to people who give too little. Start noticing how you feel after being around certain people. Pay attention to the weight you carry after certain conversations. If someone constantly leaves you feeling anxious, insecure, or depleted, that's feedback. That's a sign something needs to change. And the change doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be real. Maybe you speak less. Maybe you see them less. Maybe you cut off access completely. Whatever it is, do what you need to do. Because your peace matters more than their comfort. People who truly care about you won't drain you. They won't expect you to carry their emotional weight all the time. They won't disappear when you need them. They won't play games with your time. Real friends, real connections, they energize you. They support you. They respect your space. And they don't make you question your worth. That's how you know who belongs in your life. You're allowed to grow out of people. You're allowed to need new energy. You're allowed to evolve and realize that certain connections no longer fit. That doesn't make you cold. That doesn't make you fake. That makes you aware. That makes you wise. The stronger you become, the more you realize how expensive your time is. And you stop wasting it on conversations that go in circles, on people who bring chaos, on relationships that always feel one-sided. It's also important to stop justifying other people's behavior while you neglect your own well-being. They're going through a lot, you say. They don't mean to act that way. Maybe that's true. but your energy still gets affected. Your time still gets drained. And if someone's pain becomes your responsibility over and over again, that's not healthy. That's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. You can still care without overextending. You can still be kind without being available all the time. You can still love someone and keep a distance. You're not being heartless. You're being honest. Honest about your limits. Honest about your needs. Honest about what kind of energy you're willing to accept in your life. Because the longer you ignore those truths, the harder it becomes to function. You start carrying weight that was never yours. You start feeling responsible for someone else's behavior, and that takes away from everything you're trying to build. People don't have to be toxic to drain you. Sometimes it's just a mismatch in energy. Sometimes it's their constant negativity. Sometimes it's the way they talk down about your goals. Sometimes it's their inability to respect your time. Either way, if it doesn't align with where you're going, you have to pause. You have to ask yourself if this relationship is helping or hurting. And if the answer is hurting, you have a decision to make. This is your life. You get to decide who's in it. You get to choose what kind of people you spend your days with. And you get to set the standard for how you're treated. The moment you start honoring your time, everything shifts. Your focus sharpens. Your mood improves. Your days become lighter. Because you're no longer pouring into people who leave you empty. It doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you become intentional. You stop trying to save everyone. You stop trying to fix relationships that only break you. You stop showing up for people who never show up for you. And you start giving your best to the ones who deserve it. The ones who listen. The ones who care. The ones who want to see you win. Every moment you spend with someone who drains you is a moment taken from someone who values you. Every minute you give to a draining relationship is a minute taken from your growth, from your goals, from your peace. And that price is too high. So if you've been giving too much to the wrong people, it's time to take it back. It's time to protect your energy. It's time to give yourself the space you need to grow, to rest, to focus, to live fully. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself clarity. You owe yourself a life that feels good to wake up to. And that starts by being honest about who drains you and choosing to step away from that energy for good. Chapter 6. Act on goals instead of just thinking about them. Everyone has goals. Some write them down. Some talk about them with energy and excitement. Some keep them locked in their mind, waiting for the perfect time to begin. But the truth is, goals don't work unless you do. Thinking about them is not enough. Planning without action is just another delay. If your goals live in your head, but never make it to your habits, then you're just dreaming, not building. And there's a big difference between wanting a better life and doing the work that creates one. You can think about getting fit. You can research diets and watch videos about workouts. But if you never get up and move, nothing changes. You can imagine running a business. You can talk about it every day with your friends. But until you start learning, creating, failing, adjusting, it's just an idea. That's where most people stay. In their head. In the comfort of thought. Because thinking feels safe. Acting feels risky. And that fear of failing stops more people than failure itself ever could. People hold on to the idea of starting someday. But someday is not a real day. It doesn't exist on the calendar. It's just another way to put things off. If you don't act, you'll carry the same goals year after year, with nothing to show for them but frustration. You'll scroll through other people's progress and wonder why you're still stuck. And it won't be because you lack talent or opportunity. It will be because you waited too long to begin. There's a certain power that only comes when you start. Not when you think, not when you plan, but when you do. That first action, no matter how small, breaks the cycle of hesitation. It proves to yourself that you're serious, that you're not just someone who talks about improvement, you're someone who shows up for it. You start building confidence by doing. Confidence is not something you think yourself into. It's something you earn by doing what's hard, by keeping promises to yourself, and by moving even when things aren't perfect. You don't need to know everything to start. You just need to stop using thinking as an excuse. You don't need a perfect plan. You need one real step, and then another, and then one more after that. Thinking too much leads to doubt, but action leads to clarity. The moment you begin, the fog starts to lift. You see what's working. You learn what needs adjusting. You stop guessing and start learning in real time. Discipline is built in action, not in intention. It doesn't matter how badly you want it. It matters how consistently you move toward it. Wanting won't get you there. Doing will. Every goal you've written down, every dream you've carried, every result you've imagined, it all comes down to whether or not you show up when it's hard, whether or not you do the work when no one's watching, whether or not you act instead of just think. Most people overestimate what they need to start. They believe they need more time, more motivation, more money, more clarity. But what they really need is to begin. Most of the clarity they're waiting for only comes through experience, not before it. You learn by doing. You grow by showing up. And once you realize that, you stop waiting for motivation and you start working regardless of how you feel. You can read about success all day long. You can study strategies and routines. But if you don't apply any of it, you're just collecting information. Knowledge without action is wasted. You don't grow just by knowing. You grow by doing. Every single person who has achieved something you admire started with an imperfect step. They didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't sit on their ideas for years. They acted. They failed. They learned. And they kept going. Your progress is waiting on your decision, not your thoughts, not your hopes. Your decision to act. Every day you delay, you reinforce the habit of hesitation. Every day you do nothing, it becomes easier to keep doing nothing. That's how people stay stuck. Not because they don't want more, but because they keep thinking about change instead of making it. If you want to see results, the question is simple: what are you doing about it today? You don't need a huge leap. You just need consistent action. Small steps, taken daily, are more powerful than big steps you never take. A 10-minute workout beats thinking about exercising for a month. Writing one page beats imagining your book for a year. Making one phone call beats overthinking your business for weeks. Momentum comes from movement, not from thought, not from endless planning, but from action, real, focused, daily action. You can't afford to live your life in theory. You have things you want to do, a version of yourself you want to become. But that version is not created through daydreaming. It's built through work, through effort, through moments when you'd rather stay still but choose to move anyway. That's the difference between progress and frustration, between growth and regret. The difference is action. If you're tired of feeling stuck, ask yourself what you're avoiding. Ask yourself what you're waiting for. Ask yourself why you keep putting things off that matter to you. and then make a different choice. You don't have to overhaul your life in one day. You just have to stop wasting time thinking about what you could do and start doing something. Anything. One move in the right direction is better than 1,000 plans you never act on. You already know what to do. Most people do. The problem is never a lack of information. It's a lack of execution. You already know what habits will help you. You already know what distractions you need to cut. You already know what your goals require. The real challenge is doing it. The real challenge is keeping your promises when no one's watching. And the only way to change that is to stop waiting and begin. If you keep thinking without acting, you'll keep feeling stuck. But once you begin, even if it's messy, even if you make mistakes, you feel alive again. You start to believe in yourself again. Because you're not just talking, you're doing. You're proving to yourself that you can follow through. And that kind of self-respect only grows when your actions match your goals. There's no perfect time to start. There's only now. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Opportunities come and go. Ideas fade. Energy shifts. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. And you can't afford to lose more time to hesitation. So start now. Not with a perfect plan. Not with everything figured out. Start with one action that moves you closer. Then keep going. That's how progress is made. One real step at a time. Your goals matter. Your time matters. And your life will always reflect what you consistently do, not what you think about. So if you want to change your life, stop thinking about change and start building it. With action, every single day. Chapter 7. Stand firm when life pushes you to fold. Life doesn't always go your way. Things happen that you didn't ask for. People disappoint you. Plans fall apart. You work hard and sometimes get nothing in return. You try your best and still face setbacks. That's how life works. It's not always fair. It doesn't always reward you right away. But in those moments when everything feels heavy, when the pressure builds, when you feel like giving up, that's when you face the most important decision of your life. Will you fold or will you stand firm? Anyone can feel strong when life is smooth. When everything goes according to plan, there's no pressure to break. But real strength shows up when you're tested, when you're tired, when you're disappointed, when you feel like all your effort isn't getting you anywhere. That's when it matters most. The days you want to walk away are the days that define you. That's where your character is built. That's where your discipline is shaped. That's when your future is being decided, not by what's happening to you, but by how you choose to respond. Some people quit when it gets hard, not because they're not capable, but because they haven't trained themselves to hold their ground. The discomfort feels too heavy. The uncertainty gets loud, and they mistake pain for a sign that it's time to stop. But pain is not always a warning. Sometimes it's a signal that you're growing. Sometimes it's the cost of leveling up. You don't build strength by avoiding pressure. You build it by standing through it. Not giving up when it gets tough. Not backing down just because you're tired. But staying focused, staying committed, even when nothing makes sense. There will be moments when you feel like everything is stacked against you, like the progress is too slow, like the people around you don't understand, like you're all alone in what you're trying to build. And that's when the voice in your head starts whispering, "Why are you doing this? Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you should stop." And in that moment you have to be stronger than your emotions. You have to remind yourself of the reason you started, of the life you're trying to build, of the person you promised yourself you would become. Emotions are temporary. They come and go, but your actions leave a permanent impact. If you quit every time life gets hard, you'll never finish anything that matters. You'll keep starting over. You'll live in cycles of half-done goals and wasted potential. But if you learn to stand firm, even when you're tired, even when it hurts, you build something no one can take from you: inner strength. That's not talent. That's not luck. That's earned. And you earn it by refusing to fold when folding would be easier. You don't have to pretend to be unshaken. Strength isn't about acting like nothing bothers you. It's about moving forward, even when you're overwhelmed. It's about staying focused, even when the results are slow. It's about pushing through, even when your mind tries to talk you out of it. The strongest people aren't the ones who never feel doubt. They're the ones who feel it and keep showing up anyway. Sometimes life will hit you in ways you didn't expect. A loss, a setback, a failure, and it will feel like everything is falling apart. But in those moments, remember this: you've made it through hard things before. You've already survived more than you give yourself credit for. And if you could make it through that, you can make it through this. You're not starting from weakness. You're standing with experience. And that means you're more equipped than you think. You can't build mental toughness by avoiding adversity. You build it by facing it, by making the hard choices, by sticking with your plan when distractions call you away, by showing up when nobody claps, by staying focused when nothing feels exciting. That's how you win, by refusing to break when life pushes you to fold. Sometimes it's not even life. Sometimes it's the people around you. People who don't believe in your goals. People who doubt your progress. People who want you to shrink because your growth makes them uncomfortable. And when that pressure comes, it's easy to want to fall back into old patterns. It's easy to start doubting yourself. But you have to stand firm. You're not building your life to make others comfortable. You're building it because you know you're capable of more, and nobody gets to take that away from you. Standing firm doesn't mean being rigid. It means being committed. It means adjusting your methods but never lowering your standards. It means adapting when needed, but never abandoning your vision. When things don't work out, don't throw away the whole goal. Learn, rethink, refocus, but keep moving. The worst mistake is not failing, it's stopping. Every time you hold your ground in a hard season, you become more of who you were meant to be. You gain clarity. You build endurance. You learn what really matters. You learn how much you're capable of. And those lessons don't fade. They stay with you. They shape how you show up in every area of your life. Your relationships, your work, your mindset. They all get stronger because you chose not to fold. It's easy to think that standing firm means doing it alone. But the truth is, strength grows faster when you stay connected to the right people. People who remind you of what you're working for. People who help you see beyond the pressure. People who don't let you quit when your mind gets weak. Find those people. Talk to them. Lean on them. You don't have to carry it all by yourself, but you do have to carry your part. And your part is to keep going. Even in the quiet moments when no one sees your effort, your consistency matters. Even when the world doesn't reward your work right away, your habits matter. Even when nothing seems to be changing, your effort still counts. Because progress is not always loud. It doesn't always show up in dramatic wins. Sometimes it shows up in the quiet strength of a person who simply refuses to quit. There is something powerful about knowing you didn't give up. Something real about being able to look back and say, I held my ground. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. You don't have to move fast. You just have to keep standing when others would walk away. You just have to keep doing the work when others would let it go. That's where the edge is. That's where growth happens. That's where change begins. So when life tests you, and it will respond with strength. When people doubt you, and they will respond with consistency. When your own mind plays tricks on you, and it will respond with truth. You are stronger than the pressure. You are greater than the fear. You are capable of more than you've shown the world yet. And it all becomes real the moment you decide not to fold. This chapter of your life is not about everything going smoothly. It's about proving to yourself that you can stay solid when nothing feels easy. That you can be steady when everything around you is unstable. That you can hold your ground, not with anger or force, but with discipline, belief and purpose. You owe it to yourself to see what happens when you stop running and start standing. When life pushes, don't fold. Push back with focus. Push back with discipline. Push back with action. That's how you win. That's how you rise. And that's how you build a life you'll be proud of. One solid day, one hard moment, one strong decision at a time. Chapter 8. Take steps that match your values and standards. Every action you take is shaping your life. The small steps, the big ones, the quiet choices you make when no one is watching, they're all adding up. The question is, are those steps aligned with who you really are? Are they matching your values, your standards, and the life you say you want? Most people drift through their days without asking that question. They do what's convenient. They copy what others are doing. They follow routines that never feel right, but they keep going because it's familiar. And in that quiet drift, they slowly disconnect from themselves. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll say yes to things that don't serve you. You'll take on work that doesn't reflect your purpose. You'll stay in conversations that feel off. You'll move through your days doing what you think you're supposed to do, instead of what actually reflects your values. That kind of life might look fine from the outside, but inside, it leaves you feeling off track. Not because you aren't doing enough, but because you're not doing what aligns with your deeper truth. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real with yourself. What do you believe in? What matters most to you? What are the personal standards that define how you want to live? Most people don't take the time to answer that honestly. They talk about goals, but they never ask if those goals actually reflect their own values, or if they're just chasing approval, validation, or someone else's definition of success. But if your steps aren't aligned with your values, you'll always feel like something's missing, no matter how much you achieve. There comes a point in your life where you need to stop adjusting to fit the world and start walking in a way that reflects who you really are. That doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities. It doesn't mean being selfish. It means being intentional. It means not trading your peace for a paycheck, not lowering your standards to feel accepted, not pretending to care about things that don't match your mission. When you begin to move with clarity, you become more grounded. You stop chasing everything, and you start choosing the right things. Every step you take either builds your integrity or breaks it down. When you say something matters to you, and you act against it, you chip away at your self-respect. You feel it in your gut. That quiet tension, that discomfort you can't quite explain. That's the cost of stepping outside your own standards. It doesn't always show up right away, but it builds. And over time, it erodes your confidence and your inner peace. But when you align your actions with your values, everything begins to feel lighter. Not easier, but lighter. You may still face challenges, but you face them with clarity. You may still get tired, but you feel proud of the way you're moving. There's no internal conflict. You know you're showing up as yourself. That kind of clarity can't be bought. It can't be given to you. It has to be earned through consistent conscious decisions. It starts with simple questions. Are you spending time with people who reflect your values? Are you working on things that matter to you, not just things that pay the bills? Are you showing up in your relationships with honesty and presence? Are you standing by your principles, even when it's hard? These questions bring you back to yourself. They strip away distractions. They make you look at your own life without filters. And that's where real change begins. You have to get clear about your values, not the ones you post online, not the ones you were taught to say, the ones that actually mean something to you. Maybe it's honesty, maybe it's discipline, maybe it's kindness, or growth, or faith, or respect. Whatever they are, write them down. Define them clearly, because if you don't define them, the world will define them for you. And you'll spend your life living a version of yourself that never feels complete. Once you've defined them, match your steps to them. Don't just say discipline matters to you. Build your routine around it. Don't say health is important and then ignore what your body needs. Don't say you care about honesty and then stay quiet when something needs to be said. Your actions are your values in motion. They're the proof that what you believe isn't just talk, it's the way you move. And yes, this kind of life takes effort. It takes awareness. It takes discipline to stop and ask, does this match what I believe in, before you make decisions? But that's the cost of integrity. That's the price of peace. And when you're consistent with it, you start to trust yourself more. You stop second-guessing every move. You don't need constant feedback from others, because you know you're living right by your own standard. Sometimes it means making hard decisions, walking away from opportunities that don't feel right, saying no to people who don't respect your time, letting go of habits that keep you small, choosing peace over popularity, choosing growth over comfort. These aren't easy decisions, but they're necessary ones, because every compromise you make with your values might bring short-term comfort, but it steals long-term fulfillment. And there's something powerful that happens when you live this way. You start to attract people who share your values. You start to find work that matches your standards. You begin to wake up with more focus, because your steps have direction now. You're not moving just to stay busy. You're moving towards something that actually means something to you. You don't have to explain your standards to everyone. You just have to live by them. Let people see your consistency. Let them feel your presence. Let your life speak louder than your words. Some will respect it, some won't. But that's not your responsibility. Your job is to walk with integrity, to know that at the end of the day, you stood by what matters to you. This doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes. You will. Everyone does. But when you're clear on your values, you'll know how to course correct. You won't stay off track for long. You'll feel it when you're drifting, and you'll know what to do to realign. That's the power of living by your standards. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. You need the willingness to return to your path, again and again, even when life pulls you away from it. And if you've been walking out of alignment for a while, that's okay. You don't need to feel shame. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You just need to decide to change. Right now, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Begin again, one decision at a time, one action at a time. Match your next step to the person you want to be, not the person you've been. The world is loud. It'll keep trying to pull you in every direction. It'll reward you for fitting in. It'll praise you for doing what's popular. But you weren't made to blend in. You were made to stand strong in your values. You were made to set the tone for your life, not follow someone else's. And that tone gets set by the steps you take every day. So walk in a way that reflects your truth. Let your standards guide your time, your choices, your energy. Stop chasing things that don't feel right. Stop accepting things that don't match your principles. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters. You need to align. That's where power lives. That's where clarity grows. And that's where real fulfillment begins, one honest step at a time.
Chapter 9. Protect your peace, even if others don't like it. Your peace is not optional. It's not something you protect when it's convenient. It's not something you fight for only when others agree. It's something you build, guard, and stand by, even if people don't understand it, even if they try to make you feel guilty for choosing it. The truth is, not everyone will support the boundaries you set. Not everyone will like it when you stop answering every call, showing up for every event, or fixing problems that were never yours to carry. But peace isn't about pleasing people. Peace is about protecting your mental clarity, your emotional energy, and your right to live in a way that honors your well-being. People will always have opinions about how you should live your life. They'll question your distance. They'll take your silence personally. They'll expect you to explain every decision that benefits your growth. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your life trying to keep everyone comfortable while you stay emotionally exhausted. You are not responsible for how people feel about the boundaries you set. You're responsible for creating a life where you can breathe, think, grow, and move forward without being weighed down by unnecessary noise. Protecting your peace doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means learning how to manage your space. It means being honest about what drains you, what distracts you, and what throws you off balance. Some people don't realize how much chaos they bring into your life until you step back. Some won't notice how much energy they pull from you until you stop giving it so freely. You don't owe everyone access to you just because they've known you for a long time. Relationships that constantly cost you peace are too expensive. You've got to be intentional with your energy. Who gets your attention? Who takes up your time? Who always brings problems but never solutions? These are questions most people avoid because they don't want to seem rude. But being nice at the cost of your peace is not strength. It's self-neglect. You can care without carrying everything. You can love people and still protect your space. You can support others and still say, I need time for myself. Some people are uncomfortable with peace because they're used to chaos. They're used to noise, arguments, drama, tension. And when you start living differently, when you choose calm, structure, clarity, they'll say you've changed. And they're right. You did change. You stopped accepting what drains you. You stopped showing up in situations that make you question yourself. You started valuing quiet over conflict, focus over distraction, progress over constant repair. Not everyone's ready for that version of you, and that's okay. You don't need to defend your calm. You don't need to prove your boundaries. You just need to live them, speak less, protect more. When someone tries to pull you into unnecessary stress, you don't have to join. When someone sends chaos your way, you don't have to respond. You can take a breath. You can walk away. You can say no without guilt. You can make yourself unavailable to anything that threatens your emotional balance. Peace is earned. It's not automatic. You earn it by being honest about what doesn't sit right with you. You earn it by saying no to conversations that go in circles. You earn it by stepping back from people who love drama more than they love solutions.
You earn it by choosing not to argue with people who have no intention of understanding you. You earn it by walking away from patterns that leave you tired and heavy. And once you earn it, you fight to keep it. Protecting your peace also means getting rid of internal noise. Not just what's around you, but what's inside of you. The self-doubt, the constant overthinking, the need to explain yourself, the pressure to be perfect. All of it has to be challenged. Your peace depends on it. You've got to stop thinking you're being selfish just because you're taking care of yourself. You've got to stop expecting yourself to always be available, always be the strong one, always be the fixer. That mindset will break you if you let it. You don't need to be in every group chat. You don't need to respond to every message right away. You don't need to accept every invitation. You don't need to explain every decision. Your peace matters more than your approval rating. If something costs you your sleep, your focus, your joy, or your sense of direction, it's too expensive, no matter who or what it is. The people who truly care about you will understand, and the ones who don't understand were never meant to stay in your close circle. It takes courage to create distance. It takes maturity to say, I don't want to be in that space anymore. It takes discipline to not engage in every conversation. It takes clarity to realize that some things are not worth your response. And it takes strength to keep showing up for yourself even when others misunderstand you. But the more you practice it, the more you realize how powerful it is to choose peace over pressure. Your peace will require silence sometimes. Not everything needs a reaction. Not every comment needs a reply. Not every challenge deserves your attention. Some people are looking for a fight you don't need to join. Some are searching for drama to pull you into their story. Don't let them. Let your silence speak. Let your calm be the boundary. Let your growth speak for itself. There is freedom in living a life that feels good on the inside, even if it doesn't always make sense to others on the outside. There is power in creating a schedule that respects your limits, in turning off your phone, in saying no without guilt, in spending time alone without explaining why, in choosing slow mornings over chaotic conversations, in staying home to reset, instead of showing up to keep others comfortable. That is peace, and it's yours to protect. Sometimes people will accuse you of being distant. Sometimes they'll say you've changed, and you have. You've stopped showing up in spaces that make you anxious. You've stopped letting everyone interrupt your time. You've stopped taking on roles that don't match your priorities. You've stopped sacrificing yourself to meet expectations that never belonged to you. That's not distance. That's growth. Protecting your peace means choosing what you listen to, the content you consume, the voices you give weight to, the thoughts you repeat in your head. It all matters. What you feed your mind either calms you or confuses you. Be selective. Be clear. You can't expect to feel calm if you keep inviting in chaos through your phone, your conversations, or your habits. Your peace depends on what you allow in, not just what you block out. Start making decisions that protect your inner world. You don't have to ask anyone for permission to do what's best for you. You don't have to apologize for growing past certain habits or people. You don't have to keep explaining why your peace matters. You just have to live it, protect it, and defend it when necessary. Peace is not something you find one time. It's something you create every day, by how you live, how you speak, and who you allow near you. You don't need to feel bad for choosing calm, for taking your time, for avoiding conversations that drain you, for saying no to what no longer fits. The people who are supposed to be in your life will respect your need for space. They won't make you feel guilty for protecting your energy. They won't confuse your peace with weakness. They'll see it for what it is: strength, discipline, and wisdom. So keep your peace. Guard it like it matters, because it does. Your focus, your mood, your growth, your future, they all depend on how well you protect your inner world. Not everyone will understand it. Not everyone will like it. That's fine. They don't need to. You didn't build your peace for them. You built it for you. And you don't have to give it away to make anyone else feel better. Stand by it. Live in it. Let it be the standard you carry forward every single day. Chapter 10. Choose progress that actually means something to you. Not all progress is meaningful. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're growing. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're headed in the right direction. Progress that matters isn't about checking boxes, impressing others, or chasing what looks good from the outside. It's about taking steps that actually connect to something real inside of you. Something honest, something that reflects who you are and where you want to go. Too many people chase results that never satisfy them because they never stop to ask one simple question: does this really matter to me? The world will try to define success for you. It will show you numbers, images, lifestyles, and labels, and tell you that you should want those things. It will teach you to compare, to compete, to chase what's popular. But what's popular isn't always right for you. What others value might not match your purpose. And if you follow that path blindly, you might achieve things that leave you feeling empty. You might climb a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall the entire time. That's why it's important to choose progress that has meaning, not just motion, not just metrics. Meaning. You have to slow down and ask yourself, what am I working toward, and why? Is it something that reflects what I truly care about? Or is it something I picked up along the way because I thought I had to? Progress without direction can feel exciting for a while, but eventually the excitement fades and all you're left with is noise. Real growth is different. It feels quieter, deeper, and more personal. It connects with your identity. It reflects your priorities, and it keeps you grounded, even when the results come slowly. Sometimes people feel stuck, not because they're lazy, but because they've been chasing things that don't align with who they are. Their energy is spread thin on goals they don't believe in. They force motivation for tasks that mean nothing to them, and they wonder why they're always exhausted or uninspired. But the issue isn't their ability, it's their alignment. When you pursue the wrong kind of progress, your passion fades, your habits become forced. Your spirit feels drained, not fulfilled. The solution is not to do more, it's to do what matters. To define your own version of progress, to choose goals that are built around your values, to pursue improvement in the areas that actually bring you joy, strength, peace, and clarity. That's the kind of progress you stick with, even when it gets hard. That's the kind of growth that builds your confidence, not just your resume. That's the kind of path that makes you feel proud, not just when you reach the result, but every day you're on the way there. Ask yourself where you're trying to go. Ask what success looks like for you, not for your friends, not for your parents, not for your social media page, for you. Maybe for you, progress means having more quiet in your life. Maybe it means getting healthier, not just for your looks, but for your energy and strength. Maybe it means building stronger relationships. Maybe it means working on your mindset, healing, or becoming more disciplined. Your answer doesn't have to match anyone else's. It just has to be honest. When you choose progress that means something to you, You stop needing outside validation. You stop chasing applause. You don't need people to notice because you feel the value of it inside. The growth becomes personal. It becomes part of how you live, not just something you show. And that's when it starts to last. You're not driven by fear. You're not trying to catch up. You're building something steady. Something that fits who you are and where you're headed. Sometimes it means letting go of goals that used to matter. Sometimes it means admitting that you've outgrown a dream you once chased. That's not failure. That's clarity. Growth means being willing to release the old version of yourself to make room for the new one. It means asking hard questions. It means being honest enough to say, this doesn't matter to me anymore, and brave enough to walk in a new direction. It also means not being distracted by what everyone else is doing. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their progress is not your standard. Their achievements don't take anything away from yours. When you choose meaningful progress, you stop comparing. You stop rushing. You stop living on someone else's clock. You get focused. You get disciplined. You get intentional. And every step you take starts to feel more like you. There's a peace that comes with knowing you're moving in the right direction, even if it's slow, even if it doesn't look flashy, even if it's different from what everyone else is doing. That peace can't be faked. It only comes from alignment, when your values match your actions and your goals reflect your truth. That's the progress that holds up over time. That's the kind of growth that doesn't burn out. You don't have to do what others expect. You don't have to chase every trend. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to wake up and make choices that reflect what matters to you. And if you don't know what that is yet, slow down. Get quiet. Listen to your life. Look at what drains you. Look at what brings you alive. That's where the answers are, not in someone else's blueprint. In your own experience, you have more power than you think. The power to decide where your energy goes. The power to let go of meaningless pressure. The power to define what real success looks like in your life. And once you take that power seriously, you start to build a different kind of progress. One that you don't need to escape from. One that doesn't wear you down. One that fits you, strengthens you, and makes your days feel worthwhile. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about getting clear on what matters and having the courage to walk toward it, even if the path is slower, even if it's less popular, even if you have to walk it alone. Because in the end it's your life, and you deserve to look back and say, I built something that mattered to me, not something that looked good to everyone else, not something that impressed the world but left you feeling empty. Something real, something honest, something meaningful. So take a good look at the goals you're chasing. Ask yourself if they still matter. Ask yourself if they still reflect your purpose. And if they don't, you don't need to hold on. You're allowed to adjust. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to choose progress that actually means something to you. The kind that brings you peace. The kind that grows your character. The kind that keeps you moving even when the rewards are not instant. That's the progress that lasts. That's the kind that changes your life. And that's the kind you should fight for every single day.